And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to tonight's episode of Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. I am your host, Natasha.
And I'm your other host, EL.
And tonight we have a most awesome guest for you guys, the infamous PN Elrod.
I didn't mean to do that.
No, something.
I'm listening to my inner python.
So as you can tell, it's going to be a really fun show tonight because she is just amazing. We've been behind the scenes with her, talking with her, and she is so much fun. And you know what? She's even sitting at Rachel Kane's house. And I know you guys remember Rachel being on the show and doing her live reading and her giveaways. And they're together. They're like the ultimate team. Oh my God! Don't even.
We're not. We're not. That was Darth Maul! Quick, call the Emperor!
Okay,
I like that version. Let's go back to A New Hope. Yes, Luke Skywalker, young and hot.
Oh God!
I'm so relieved. That would be really yikes. And I left my lightsaber at home. It's a real one too. You should see how it lights up.
So if you guys don't know who PN Elrod is, she is the author of a multitude of novels, including The Vampire Files, which the first one was Bloodless, out in 1990, correct?
Huh? What?
And the new one, here's the new one that I can't wait to read, The Hanged Man, which is her new steampunk. So that's
there, obligatory cover out of, oh, I knocked stuff over.
I'm going to help her out and say, yes, the Vampire Files books are great.
Well, they will be again soon. They were first published 25 years ago. I got the rights back from the publisher, so I'm going to reissue them, but the director's cut versions. So all those passive verbs are going away. I'm going to, I don't know, polish things a little bit. So the first of them is going to be reissued as a special 25th anniversary edition. New covers, and you can buy all 12 of them in a big bundle rather than bits at a time. And but that's got to be something I do not now.
okay. So guys, if
please
you
talk.
I'm talking.
I'm dying here.
I think I had my mic on mute actually for a second. That was my fault. But
I'll never forget.
Oh, but so if you do have any questions for PN Elrod, or Pat as we've been calling her because she's amazing, hashtag us at WWWriting, and we'll be talking to her live for the next hour, answering any and all your questions in regards to the Vampire Files or the new one, The Hanged Man, which is her new steampunk. Is that YA or adult for The Hanged Man?
It could be either one.
Okay.
The heroine is 25, but she some of her big history started when she was 15, and she's been around the world twice and learned martial arts and all kinds of stuff. So when she goes back home to England, her immediate family, as in cousins, kind of treat her like an exotic zoo specimen, because it's like, she's not really British, is she? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, kick-ass heroine who's traveled the world, and they probably haven't even been to Scotland. So, well, one of them might have. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I watched a lot of British television, so hopefully I got all the slang right. Though I have been informed I did mess up on how people are addressed for lords and ladies, which isn't a surprise, but I covered myself. This is an alternate history British Empire, so it's okay.
That'd be cool. It's
yes.
fiction as well. It's fine.
Yes. On the other hand, that particular writer said she'd be happy to proofread the next book to get everything correct. And since she's, I don't know, I think it's Mary Jo Putney.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was a couple of weeks since I read that letter, but I thought, yeah, okay, she wants to be my beta reader? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Or, no, it was Laura Resnick. Oh, sorry. Laura Resnick.
Well, that's the great thing about alternate histories is that you can make some things up as you go, and if something is wrong, you can just chalk it up to that alternate history. So that works out really, really well.
All about Kevlar on your bottom.
So we did, and I don't know if this person is watching, we did have a question earlier, but they seem to have deleted it. So if you want to ask that question, Rachel and I put our heads together. The best thing we could come up with was, what's the hardest part of writing for you? So if you want to go ahead and tackle that one, maybe that was the question. If not, ask it again. And guys, ask any questions you may have.
Oh, getting up in the morning, I guess. Nice comfy bed, I don't want to leave it, but you know, you gotta get up, you gotta go to work, same as everyone else. But I am lazy, and I'd rather do other things.
But you can bring the laptop to bed with you and still work from bed.
No, not my bed. My bed's strictly for rest. Don't mix my leisure. I have other places in the house to write from, and when I go to bed, I just don't want to think about all that stuff. So
it's like your sanctuary.
Yeah, it's nice.
What's your favorite place to write?
Writers lead a very dull, boring life outside of their heads. Inside, we're getting photobombed. Darth Maul is back.
Okay.
Wham.
I am loving the fact that Rachel is just coming in photobombing. It's great. This is perhaps the best show ever. So
I'll work out a hand signal so she comes in with quick.
I like it.
Jump in.
Well, it's that or my triple imitation. I could do that, but never mind.
So you published your first book 25 years ago.
Well,
so
I didn't publish it. Somebody else published it, but
you got your first book published 25 years ago.
Well, yeah.
So have you seen from then to now, do you think there is a huge difference within the publishing industry from how you went about getting into it to how people go about getting into it now? Do you see any major changes from then to now?
Yes. The independent publishing thing has changed everything. It's a game changer. But, you know, it's still the thing where 1% of the stuff that is self-published is going to be absolutely wonderful, and then there's the rest of it. However, being also a freelance editor, I'm kind of liking the rest of it because maybe I can help other writers get their manuscripts up to speed, and then there are others that are, you'll get this one. Others things that are a dog's breakfast.
Yeah, I agree. There are some books that have been published that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, but you know, there's going to be some good stuff and bad stuff. The thing with mainstream publishing, with the commercial publishers, they're the gatekeepers. But they can still publish some stinkers. I think we've all read a few on the bestseller list that were a little less than disgusting. But then there are some absolutely freaking wonderful things on the bestseller list. I used to think that bestseller meant terrific book until I actually started reading the list. And then I'm going, not for all of these. And that has been true since I started reading. It's still true today. There's going to be some wonderful books that sell a whole lot of copies and wonderful books that nobody's ever heard of. I think I'm in the latter one because I try and write a wonderful book and nobody's heard of me. But that's okay. It's good to be humble.
I've heard of you.
Yes, you're one of the people who matter. Yes, you matter. Yeah, Darth Maul is really... Darth Maul is back! No!
I don't matter. However, I will say, okay, I got to tell this story because when I first met Pat, because I really wanted to be a writer.
And somehow you got past my ego.
Well, I went to I deliberately put myself at a particular fan club meeting I knew she would be at.
Get out.
Because I really liked her stuff. And I wanted to talk to her. And when I told her that I was a writer, she kind of got this blank look on her face and said, oh, God, oh, okay. And I said, oh well, this is what I've published, and she said, oh, let's go sit over here and talk.
It was like a real book. These days, someone comes up and says, I'm a writer too, and this is what I published, and they open up their Kindle, and it doesn't have a good ending.
But sometimes it does. Some of them are amazing.
Yeah, but this was 25 years ago.
Well, yeah, 25 years ago it was different. But
oh my God, we've known each other that long.
No, I think there's a time travel thing involved here. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna step out.
You were holding them in the palm of your hand. Now they're back with me. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm back focusing on you now.
Look, see, I'm a tribble.
There's something that I wanted to ask you that we brushed on it earlier on, but it was about the historical aspects. Well, your book is, it's set in the 1930s, the Vampire Files. So how long did it take you to research that time, and do you still find yourself learning more?
Oh, I love doing that type of research because I went straight down to the library, and this was something I was doing anyway, reading old magazines from the period. And I loved going in the stacks, yanking down a Life magazine from whatever month of 1936, and just flipping through them and reading the ladies' magazines, all the magazines, Time magazine. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a shock to me to find Hitler was Man of the Year for Time magazine.
No, I did not know that.
Holy crap.
Wow.
They said, well, he turned Germany around. Oh, just wait a few years. And it was terrible. And the ladies' magazines.
I'm sorry, did someone mention Hitler? I just had to step in. I'm sorry. This conversation's getting a little out of hand now. Okay.
Captain America.
I was going to do that. Sorry.
Okay, we've lost Tasha, but I'm sure that she'll come back in. If you want to
Captain America just came in.
Writing. It's complete chaos here. Mental.
Used to it. Anyway, I love doing the research. I love reading the magazines. And I find out things that you don't know happened, the stuff that didn't end up in the history books, like someone started a rumor that Hitler was going to retire and turn things over to a second in command. And one of my characters says, oh, they can't do that. The other guy's educated. Well, God knows what'll happen if he's put in charge. He's far more dangerous. So you kind of, ooh, yeah, there's some paths of history that never happened that could have been even worse. You don't know. But it's harder to find those magazines. But I did the exact same thing when I was researching something set during the American Revolution. I found the Gentleman's Quarterly, which was a wonderful magazine. I think they started in the mid-1700s and carried it through to the late 1900s. And this library had a complete run of them, and I loved reading those. They thought 2 months after the Declaration of Independence was signed, a copy made it across the pond, and I got to read the British reaction to it, which was hilarious. It doesn't even make a good court argument. Nobody's my equal. What the heck? Bloody colonists. And the book was written from mostly a British point of view. So, the family lived in America, but they were Brits through and through. So it was kind of fun to see the revolution from that point of view.
Do you find that you're still learning more and more about that era?
Oh, you never
now,
stop.
after writing quite a few books.
You never stop, and it's kind of hard sometimes to watch costume dramas when they get something wrong. Yeah. And I don't know, I just figure people are people. They're going to react in a certain way, whatever the era. And it's kind of fun to pull the comedy out of that as well. People are going to gossip about others and like, oh, did you see what she was wearing? Oh, things like that. I like a lot of humor in my stuff, and then I'll flip it over and suddenly things can turn serious. And
What is your favorite aspect of writing? Is it writing for humor?
Getting the check.
I love how blunt you are.
Absolutely. Well, I think Samuel Johnson said, and anyone who doesn't write for money is a fool. So this
I'm still waiting for the windfall.
Something up on Kindle, stick a price tag on that, baby. Don't give it away for free.
Oh, I've got one of mine for free.
Oh dear.
I know, but I'm very new. I'm just a baby.
Need an editor? I take PayPal.
They've got some. I think you guys have some questions on Twitter.
Excellent. I've just seen that Tasha said that she can't come back, which is the problem.
Oh dear. You're stuck with me.
My Twitter feed doesn't load as quickly as Tasha's.
I can give you questions.
Yes, please.
Photobomb by Rachel Kane.
Yes, please.
First question is
Thank you.
from Jennifer Farrar. How many queries should I send before I need to move on?
Oh,
All of them.
I think she means a serious answer.
It is a serious answer. I got 25 rejections on my first book. On the steampunk book, 8 rejections. And I was an established writer with a track record with an agent. And 8 publishers rejected this gonzo terrific idea of mine. So you're just going to have to judge for yourself, get feedback. Every time that book came back, I did a rewrite. So chapter 1 on that first book kept getting rewrite after rewrite. The best rejection I got was from an agent who said, "You're a good writer, but unpublishable." And I decided to make him eat those words sideways.
what about your work? Did he deem unpublishable?
I wasn't sure. That's why I rewrote the whole book. And I must have got it right because the next time it went out, it sold. Unfortunately, that publisher went belly up in bankruptcy a week after they accepted it. So I tried again, and then it sold. For real. For sure.
Excellent.
And
Tasha, welcome back.
It was great.
Thank you. Google apparently has.
We lost her.
We
Come
lost her.
back.
She's gone. Oh, I wish she's gone. She's in and out. Rachel, have you got the next question there, please? Because my Twitter feed isn't loading.
Apparently, I'm a stalker, which is true.
You can stalk me.
Oh, good. Okay. No, I'll see you later. And there's a comment actually from Infinite that says, "More Kit and Olivia, please."
Who?
More Kit and Olivia, please. I'm not sure who that is either.
Kit and Olivia.
I have no idea. We are confused.
But you know
It
what?
must not be the same series.
Oh, Tez. Hello, Tez. Hi, Tez. Says, Becca Fitzpatrick got 100 rejections before she got published with Hush Hush,
Well, I'm happy for her.
which is a huge bestseller.
Okay.
So it just shows you've got to keep querying and keep querying. You never know when you're going to get picked up.
Somebody makes me a Kit. I know a guy named Kit.
Kit, K-I-T.
K-I-T.
You're still puzzling that out.
I'm clueless.
Well, I'm just going to touch on your editing there because you just said you need an editor. I was just going to say, aside from writing, you also edit quite a high volume of books. First of all, how do you find the time? And second of all, what do you do to set aside the time for that? How do you juggle it all around?
By not doing other things, same as everybody else. I don't multitask well. Once I get started on a project, I stay focused on it until the thing's done. I'm very go from point A to point B before I don't jump ahead to D, E, and F. And I'm like that. It's for a lot of different things. You just have to finish it. And next.
Next question.
Yeah, another one.
No, I was waiting for another one to come in. But I was going to say, one of the things that Pat taught me was when you finish it, it's not finished. You're really good at revising. So how many drafts do you typically do of a book?
For me now, one.
Just one. Okay. How many did you do when you started though?
25.
Wow, that's a high amount.
Well, it wasn't 25 whole drafts, but I would read and reread, and then I'd tweak. But I was on a typewriter, which was quite different from a word processor where you can make terrible words just delete and they go away and never trouble you and embarrass you. But when you're writing on a typewriter, you're writing in between the little lines and scribbling notes on the hard copy. So if I had had a word processor back then, God knows what the book would have been like. I don't know. I write differently now from the way I did then. I think the main thing is when I started out, I would rewrite about 98% of the book as I went. And now I rewrite 2% of the book. So I compare writing to learning how to play the piano. You only good when you practice a lot. So the more you practice at writing, the better you get and the less you need to rewrite. At least that's how it works for me. But there's no right way to write a book. There's no wrong way to write a book. You butt in chair, get the words up on the screen or on the piece of paper or charcoal on the wall.
How do you feel about things like adverbs and passive voice? Is that something that you hate?
Oh, I avoid all over those, yes. The bodies are in my backyard. Do not tell the police.
I won't tell anyone, but we are live, so they now know.
Oh, well, it was a nice run. Thank you.
Busted. You've co-written several, I don't even know my English. Co-written several books. Did you find it difficult to write with somebody else? Did you have to?
Not at all. I swear we were separated at birth. I co-wrote a 3-book series with Nigel Bennett, who played LaCroix on Forever Night in the 1990s. Lovely man. He's from Wolverhampton, England. He used to teach Tudor history, so he doesn't have a happy opinion of Henry VIII. Neither do I, for that matter. But he would bring things into the book that I would never think of. And having a man's point of view was really, really cool. And we just meshed together as writers. And I knew enough about writing at that time that I could mesh my style with his. So reading those 3 books, it's really hard for me to tell who wrote what when. I do know that he did like most of the first chapter the first night after we outlined it. He just went home and started typing away. And we're sitting there as he's reading the first chapter to me. And the morning sunlight is hitting his beautiful blue eyes. And I'm thinking, hot damn, I'm getting paid to do this. But that was a very good collaboration experience. That was 2 people, same page. Once we got our heads together over dinner, man, we just start talking plot. It was just wonderful. And God, I haven't talked to him since 9/11. Yeah, but I know darn well if we ever got to collaborate again, it would be exactly the same way. Just pick right up. Now, there are some collaborations you want to remove all blunt objects from the room. Oh, hi, you're back. Hello.
Let's not jinx it. Keep talking.
Anyway, that was a nice experience.
With that collaboration, how did you work within? Did you have to like sort out your time frames? So you would write this chapter and he would write the next. Did you have to wait until you got the next segment from him?
Funny story. Okay, we worked out the general synopsis in a 6-hour marathon session in a hotel room. And then the next day he came back with chapter 1. And I went home with a bunch of tape recordings of the sessions. Well, yeah, they were both sessions where 3 people are collaborating on the idea, this and that. And my contribution, one of the guys said, well, we need a girlfriend to rescue. I said, no, we need the hero to have a woman who helps him solve the mystery. And they're going, it's a man's fantasy, Pat. And I said, yeah, but if Nigel screws up the female character, they're all going to blame him. And Nigel's kind of like, ooh, what do I do? And they said, oh, you can't have a strong female lead. And I just said, Mrs. Peel. And there was a reverent hush. So thank you, Diana Rigg. 20 years after the Avengers. The real Avengers.
I used to watch the old reruns when I was a kid.
But I forgot what my funny story was.
By the way, EL, you're amazing for keeping this just running so smooth, because I kept getting kicked out.
Yes, right.
I'm not going to lie, I was panicking.
Don't
you
panic.
Didn't show it a bit.
Yeah, because she's awesome like that. Did the questions get asked? I don't know, because I was too busy trying to get in here.
The feed isn't loading. The only question I've got is from Laurie Hoffman, which I shall ask now.
Okay.
She'd like to know how long it takes for you to complete a full manuscript.
Oh, well, the last one took 4 years. I had a lot of lifus interruptus for that one, 3 years mostly. And then I finished a book in as little as a month and a half. It just depends. Are my bills paid up? Can I go without doing housework or eating or bathing for 6 weeks? Okay.
I think that's a writer thing. When you get so caught up, you totally don't realize that 2 days have passed and you haven't taken a shower, and then you feel the fuzz on your teeth and realize you haven't brushed your teeth.
Really enjoying that book. It was a comedy book. I wanted to get it done very quickly, and I worked out ways to work fast on it. Like I would print out the night before's work and tape it up on the wall, and then that way I could keep track of the continuity because I didn't have to scroll back through the computer to see where I was. I just, oh, okay, there's that on that closet door. And I use that to this day to speed things along. It's good for a writer to have a big blank wall so she can tape stuff up.
So I don't know if Jennifer Farrar was able to get her question answered. She asked how many queries she should go through before she kind of moves on to her next manuscript.
Yeah, we got that one.
You got that one? Okay.
Yeah.
The answer was never stop.
Yeah.
Awesome. See what happens when Google says I'm not me and it kicks me out? I miss all the good stuff. So now, though, I don't see M.
Well, we had Sean Bean dropped in, so I'm so sorry. You missed him. He was in his Lord of the Rings costume, too.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yes.
That's so mean. So do we lose EL now? Like, did it kick me out? Now it's kicking her out? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
It did. Did it say it's an authentication issue?
Yeah.
I have no idea why. We have never had this problem before, ever.
Oh,
So.
I feel so special.
Darth Maul is on the case, I'm telling you.
Darth Maul is conquered.
The spikes are interfering.
I know he needs to go. You know.
We need
after
Captain
Cobra and
America.
Crap.
Look, Hitler's around here. Where's the Cap? Where's Cap?
So you are an award-winning editor. You have, helped out with a lot of anthologies, a lot of great books. I mean, when you started writing your books, did you plan on being an editor as well and kind of doing both, or did you start out as an editor and then start writing your books?
Oh, I started out as a writer, and well, one day I got this anthology. It was supposed to be a Dracula anthology, and they had like 18 stories in it, and one of them only like mentioned Dracula in passing. And I was very disappointed in it. I wanted a story about Dracula, and they're like, oh, that's Count Alucard's driver or something. So I thought, I need to do a book about Dracula where he's really in it. And that was the one that turned into Dracula's London, which was what else was Drac doing when he wasn't being chased by Van Helsing. And Rachel Kane wrote a real nice story for that one. That's a cool thing. I could call up all my friends and say, hey, could you do a story for this? And they all said, yeah. That was kind of good. And then I'd get the ones that say, you don't know me, but I have a story. And I'm going, yeah, okay. On the other hand, I did get a really good couple of times. Some writers approached me out of the blue. They had these stories that were completely awesome. I didn't expect it. And then, oh my, here we have John Cleese as Dracula. And I'm going, I love this story. I must have an anthology to put around it, which I did.
So did you wind up doing like any seminars or workshops or anything to help with your editorial skill, or it's just basically all experience from all your, going through these many, many years in the writing and publishing world?
Well, a lot of it comes from a writer's workshop that I would attend. A friend of mine kind of ran a writer's group for several years. We'd meet every Tuesday, and essentially I would read whatever was being passed around and rip it to shreds until the writer got better. And Rachel Kane was part of that, but she was allergic to cats in the house, so had to stop coming.
Right.
Oh, those cats, lots of cats. And one of the proud moments was when one of the writers started doing a critique of another person's work, and I'm going, wait, she's channeling me! Oh, fly, Padawan, fly!
We have a question from Tez at Tezzy Liz. She says, you have a knack for calling people out on plots. What makes you roll your eyes and want to throw a brick?
Oh, did I edit you this weekend, Tez? I wouldn't say I have a habit of calling people on plots. It's just that if something doesn't fly together, or if I've seen it 100 times before on TV, it's time for that writer to stop watching TV and start reading some real books.
It's a good answer. I like that.
What's your biggest pet hate that you find when you're editing?
How many? Pet peeve? Well, books and stories that open where a character is waking up, usually with a hangover. I think the worst professionally published book I ever got, and it was like one of those ones that you get for free in a box. The main character wakes up with a hangover, puts his feet outside the bed, and they land on the dead body of a young woman. And that was the first time I threw a book across the room from page 1. Because he's going, oh, somebody's dead. Huh, I better get some coffee. What? I wanted to kill that writer. I really did.
I don't think I'd get out of bed from being so drunk that I don't remember how a dead body got on the floor and just be like, I need coffee. I think I'd be freaking out just a little bit.
And yet that writer sold that book to a publisher. So it's real easy to lose respect for the publishing professional world when they put stuff like that out. Oh, and if the writer out there, whoever he is who wrote that, I hope he doesn't hear this, but if he does, I'm going to kill you! Aren't you glad
come to you, you better watch out.
Yeah.
I'll help. I'll come help.
It was about 25 years ago. I doubt the writer remembers writing it.
Yeah, I mean, you said you don't even write the same way you wrote 25 years ago. I mean, have you noticed how it's evolved, how your voice has changed? I mean, is it something you kind of consciously notice, or all of a sudden you'll go and read back and be like, wow, I don't even sound like that anymore?
Actually, the voice is the same. It's just gotten a little more refined and a little more, instead of playing the piano with one finger, I'm playing with all 10 fingers at the same time. And with an orchestral backup, it's less of a stick figure and more of a painting kind of thing, but with words. And the thing is that slows me up as a writer, there are so many choices that I can make. How many choices on how to open this part of the story. Once I get the beginning going, then the rest of the book is fine, but it's fixing that perfect beginning. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. So that's one of the times I do have to skip ahead and let the first 2 or 3 pages take care of themselves and just move on to the rest of the book and then come back. And I try not to do that, which is why I'm so slow. Now, I
have a bad habit of starting in the wrong place. And
yeah, I did that for 6 months once. It's not fun.
I just keep writing now. Like, I'm like, whatever, the beginning is the beginning. I can always fix that later as long as I get the actual plot out. But yeah, I always start. I think the last one, the one I'm editing now, I can tell you, I was like 20K in, and I was like, this is all wrong. And I scrapped it and started over, and I think it's better now. But, I think it happens sometimes. And if you don't have that solid start, though, even if it's
I did that with the Steampunk. The first 60 pages, totally scrapped them because, oh, she has to go over here and deliver bad news, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, oh, here's her family, they're so nice and understanding. And I'm going 60 pages, and this is crap. So, all right, let's make sure she doesn't tell people this bad news. And her family is a bunch of loonies! This is Downton Abbey carried to toxic levels. Upper crust family drama, this is, yeah. They don't quite do the EastEnders in your face thumping, let's kill everybody, but it's, look down your lorgnette with contempt kind of stuff and melt people with your eyes. I've read a lot of P.G. Wodehouse. When an auntie looks down her lorgnette at you, you must die.
I love loony families. I'm just going to put that out there. Kind of reminds me of mine. I have an insane family. I love them to death, but they're crazy. But Tez says...
We're going to get photobombed! It's Rachel Payne!
I just wanted to say that I feel your pain because I just cut out 25,000 words out of the beginning of a book and put it aside because I knew that was not the right place to start. And it was going places, but it was going all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in the middle of the book instead of the beginning. So yeah, that we all do it, and it's not at all unusual.
Exactly. So guys, take note that even the most awesome writers who've been doing this for 25 years or more will cut that first 20K and start over when it's not working. It's not just a novice thing. It is an every writer thing. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna suck when it does.
You must kill your darlings.
Oh my goodness.
Don't make it by accident. Save the chapter, okay? Don't hit delete by accident like I did.
I keep everything. I have stores of cut stuff, but I keep it all. And even when I go to edit, I make a copy of it, and I go that way as opposed to trying to re-edit the same doc. I'll have so many copies by the time I'm done. I don't care. I'd rather keep all of my old versions in case something worked there that I can put into the newest version. Sometimes looking back is the best thing you can do when you're editing, at least in my opinion. So, but it is it's always, you know, harsh when you have to cut 20K words. It kind of makes you a little sad. Tess says, first she says you guys are asking and answering some of the best questions. And I heard it's best to write a lot of description and leave nothing to the, I assume, wait, hold on.
I think that is one of two tweets.
Yeah, there's another tweet coming through there, so we will ask that when it's complete.
Quite faster, Tess, quick.
Come on, Tess.
Faster.
Oh, the pressure poor Tess is under right now.
I've got $25 on imagination.
Oh, she's done it.
Oh, it's imagination. Yeah, Rachel called it.
What do I win? Nothing. Oh, right.
You win the awesome award of the night. Tess says, I heard it's best to write a lot of description and leave nothing to the imagination. What is your opinion?
That's it. That is it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love that response.
I heard, okay, first, does the person you heard that from, are they a writer? Have they actually sold anything? And if they had, are they actually good at writing? Because lots of writers sell stuff and they can't do a grocery list. Now, you write what is correct for the voice of the book and the voice of the character. You listen to the voice that's in your head, not from the ones that are outside your head, because most of them don't know anything. You got to work it out for yourself. Writing is that lonely journey, but you can still have fun at it. You just don't want to get yourself wound up about what you should do rather than what your instincts and your gut says, this is what I need to do.
There's also genre conventions too.
Yeah, well, I don't read those.
Yeah, no, I'm talking just about genres in general with a different approach.
Oh God, yeah. Here's something. When you're writing a fantasy book, stop reading fantasies. If you're writing a Western, don't read Westerns. If you're doing a mystery, read romances instead. If you're doing a romance, read a mystery. Don't read the genre you're writing in for the duration, because you could end up recycling stuff that's been recycled over and over and over again. I can tell, say, a romance writer who reads outside the genre because her stuff is going to have more colors to it and different thought perceptions. And then I can tell the ones that all they read are romances, so they're just regurgitating, not even channeling, regurgitating stuff that might not be the best. You know, you got to pull out of the genre and expand. And standing things on their heads is what I like to do. I don't know if that makes sense. It does in here.
Well, yeah, just turning it upside down and making it yours, really. But I was just going to ask you, because you say about regurgitating stuff. I completely agree with you. I write PNR, but I read contemporary romance. A lot of it, I read it by the bucket load. I'm quite sad, really. And I do find that a lot of the books, the storyline is very much the same. and it's just sort of the writing and the characters that's different. How would you go about finding something that has never been done before? Because it all just seems so uniform out there at the moment. All the problems seem to be the same.
That's what you get from reading outside the genre. All right. One of my favorite writers, Elizabeth Peters, she wrote a lot of romances as Barbara Mertz and I forget the other names, but wonderful writer, professional archaeologist. And she'd been writing all these romances, and she finally thought, I'm going to write something completely different. So she starts her Amelia Peabody book, which is sort of a romance, but it's got a lot of mystery element. And the thing is, you can tell she was having an absolute blast, essentially putting Katharine Hepburn with Sean Connery and leaving them to their own devices in Victorian Egypt. And it was completely brilliant books, and those spun out into a wonderful series with this romantic couple that's together forever, having wonderful adventures with what they do, and she wouldn't have come up with that if she'd only read romances. A writer friend described the thing as literary incest. After a while, they all start looking alike, and, you know, the family tree has no branches, and the genre can get tired. So when something new and special comes along, that's because the writer took some time and read outside the genre. For instance, there's a favorite Western that I have. I don't know where this guy got the idea of having a bunch of Texas Longhorns shipped to Russia, and these American cowboys are herding the cattle across Russia from Siberia. And their version of the Indians were Cossacks. And it was brilliantly written. It was called The Cowboy and the Cossack. And I could quote bits of that book, and I haven't read it in 35 years. Now that's cool. There's your crossover. Cowboys and Longhorns and fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty eclectic in my reading. It's kind of like just whatever fiddles my fancy when I read the book blurb. I read anything from contemporary romance, romantic suspense, paranormal, urban fantasy. Like, I like to read it all. So I have a hard time with mysteries. I don't know why, but I'm never able to, like, I could watch mystery TV shows all day long, but reading them, I've always had a hard time. I don't know why.
Well, it might depend on the mystery. Some of the contemporary ones, they're kind of blah and violent. I go for the more classical ones. Of course, I started out with Conan Doyle, and then I shifted to Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett, and my vampire files are a send-up of what if a hard-nosed, hairy-chested, two-fisted detective also happened to be a vampire, which is the Vampire Files. Nobody had done that before, and it was really hard to sell because urban fantasy was just barely along, and then they weren't even calling it urban fantasy. Nobody knew how to sell it. It's got vampires, so it must be horror. No, it wasn't. Now it's a genre all in itself. I'm not saying I'm like any kind of pioneer for it. I just happen to be there and have this, and I was very lucky that the books kept coming and getting bought. But that's where your shakeup happens. I got vampire over here and a gumshoe over here. Let's have a mashup.
All the mashing up. I love it.
Yes, mashup is fun.
What is your opinion about the urban fantasy genre right now? Because right now it's said that it's a tough sell. It's hard to get into the publishing houses. It's hard to, query those kind of novels right now. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
I can tell a little bit by, I run a feedback service where you send me 2,500 words. I tell you what I think of it, and you pay me what it's worth to you. And a lot of the ones that I get that are urban fantasy, you got the snarky heroine who has martial mad art skills and she knows magic, and they all seem to start the same way, and she has the same dialogue as 100 others. Now it's time for the urban fantasy writer to stop reading the other urban fantasies and read something else. Read an historical mystery or something. Shake it up, because that's a literary incest thing showing. Yes, you love the genre. I love this genre, but my stuff is sounding like all the other things in that genre. Time to put it on the shelf and check something else out from the library. I tell new writers, read 100 books for each one that you plan to write. And if you don't go, hot damn, that's an unholy joy, then, you know, don't be a writer. I don't know where Rachel Kane gets the time to actually read books. She pointed to one today. I just finished that one. I'm going, you have time to read? But yes, and I'm not, so, you know. Like the mysteries, you mentioned what mysteries. I love the Nero Wolfe mysteries. I learned so much reading these wonderful Nero Wolfe things. They're completely wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
We have a new guest.
Planet Hoth is with me. Did you eat Luke? You froze him and put him on a cave. Oh, wait, you're from Rudolph, aren't you? Yes, yes, this is my little friend, the abominable, from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
I'm getting back at her for saying I was a genius. Come on.
I like Snow Miser and Heat Miser.
Have you ever talked to people out there? You're a freaking genius, okay? Talk to real people, all right? They wander the street, and somehow they find me.
I've had a clarification on the Kit and Olivia.
What?
Short story you did with 2 characters named Kit and Olivia. See, she's done a lot of short stories.
You can't even remember.
So
I have never done a short story with a Kit and Olivia that I know of.
I don't know about that. Let's see. Google, people. Google. Tell us the truth.
Google PN Elrod, Kit and Olivia. Let us know what you come up with. We're curious.
Yeah.
I may have edited an anthology with such character, but I wouldn't have named a character Kit, because that's the name of a real person I know. I tried to name characters not after real people, except for one case. I named this horrible murderer after Rachel Kane, and she was delighted. He was just a completely obnoxious guy. I think I strangled him.
Yay!
And here's the weird thing. I didn't equate his name with Rachel Kane's name because that's her book name, and I didn't realize that that was also her name. So that's one half of my brain not working with the other.
Okay, there be pirates, Kit and Olivia.
Oh, that was aimed at you. That was for Rachel Kane.
No, I didn't do that one.
What?
That's not my story.
Well, that's not my story either. I never wrote about pirates.
So we have phantom characters from a phantom story, and we don't know where they belong in the ether. So.
Oh. Okay, I'm misreading Google. It is my story. Whoops.
Rachel.
Okay.
I guess it is mine. I don't know. Apparently it is. Sorry. I would love to do more. I did 2 or 3 with those characters, but
See, she has written.
You know you've written a lot of stories when you don't remember the names of the characters, and other people do. And you're like, wait, I didn't write that. Oh, crap, I did write that.
I'm a Simpsons bully. Ha ha.
Okay, I just want to come over and have dinner with you guys one night.
Oh, no, you don't. I can't cook. Rachel can cook because she's a genius. Really, she
I'll
does
cook it. I have no problem with that. I'll cook it.
Just lay off the hot sauce. They've got something here called dragon's blood. It'll kill you.
Oh my God, I will love that. I love trying all the hot sauces. Are you kidding me?
we do. We have something that we call Satan sauce. Seriously. So.
I got my husband a special vial of hot sauce that it came with the world's tiniest little spoon that you're only supposed to put 1 drop on whatever you're eating because any more than that is too much.
Yeah. We got that.
Yeah, that. Love the hot stuff.
They gargle with the stuff.
Apparently yes, the story is, in fact, my story in my Big Fat Supernatural Wedding. Also the follow-up story in my Big Fat Supernatural Honeymoon. So, there you go.
That's hilarious.
But that wasn't Olivia. Her name was Cecily. Because her old boyfriend kept calling her Cess.
Yes.
And she kept thinking cesspool and wanted to hit him.
That's very true.
Boom. So it was half right.
I'm excused. I don't think it was Kid either. But hey, we'll see.
It was something like that. So, all right, let's go back to the Hangman for a minute because I want to read that, and let's pimp that out a little bit because we're getting to the end of the show. So that is a steampunk novel just released. Can't wait to read it. Now, is this going to be a standalone novel or a series?
The novel is a standalone for what it is, but it is part of a series.
Okay.
And the next one might have these same characters in it. One of the things is that the driver for the main character in this one, that was resolved in this book. So it's at a logical stopping place. And everybody wants to know what happens next. And I think that there are many other things going on that will be drivers for other characters, because at the end of this book, the people in charge of the psychic service have an unholy mess on their hands that has to get cleaned up. You know, the people in charge, they're not above getting a broom and a dust bucket to help fix things. And I've got to have.
So it'll be the same world, but potentially different characters. Within the same
they
world.
will probably be more characters. I kind of see it as sort of an ensemble kind of book, where one book has these characters as the emphasis, and then the other has different other characters. But oddly, they didn't pick up on the tarot card theme, probably because there are no tarot cards at all in this book. But since it took me like 3 years to write The Hanged Man, and that particular card is about life in suspension, the next book was going to be called The Tower, which is about total destruction. Now, life in suspension was pretty much my life in 3 years to write this. So I thought, if I call the next book The Tower, I'm going to be dead before I finish it. So I think I'll call it The Chariot instead, which is about life moving forward. And then the third book will be called The Empress. And of course, that will feature Queen Victoria, who is different from the Queen Victoria that we are familiar with.
Because it's an alternate history.
Yes, alternate history. She never married Albert. She married the dashing Arthur Holmwood, whose grandson goes after Dracula in 1893. This one takes place in 1879. So I'm having a bit of fun and mix up with the royal families. And
so what was your mashup for this? Were you reading like different genres?
Alternate history, and the women in Britain get the vote in 1857, which leads the world. Yes. It seems in 1857, Victoria put through the Equal Franchise Act, which gave all men of a certain age the right to vote, not just property owners, and that was huge. But over in America, women are trying to get the vote even then, or earlier, and they wrote a Declaration of Independence for women. And apparently the Victoria in my alternate history read that and thought, oh, that's a good idea. Let's have that. So she starts pushing through, women need to get the vote now, because it's a little-known secret that when she was sweet 16, she escaped the palace and lived among ordinary people for 2 weeks. And then dashing Lord Arthur Holmwood saves her from street ruffians, and it's love at first sight. And I get rid of that in the first page.
Aww.
This is the world that they live in afterwards. And the women had the vote in 1857, so by 1879, when this takes place, women are in Britain about where they were in the 1950s in our timeline. So they're entering professionals. They're becoming doctors and professors rather than nurses and teachers. They're getting educated. And when the Queen is saying, oh, yeah, women are going to rule here, yeah, they're going to listen, because she is a very popular queen. She's got a peaceful, diplomatic kind of thing rather than sending people out to war. And the psychic service is tied into why that is able to be maintained. And once something gets into a position of power, they want to kind of look after and guard that. So
I can't wait to
jury's still out whether the psychic service is going to be good guys or bad guys. I like to think they'd be good guys, but I'm still learning.
That's how it goes sometimes. But yeah, I can't wait to read it. It sounds freaking awesome. When Rachel told me that you wrote a steampunk, I was like, wait, what? Sorry, huh? Huh?
Like Gaslight, because it's less about the gadgets than about the people.
Still, I can't wait. Let me have my happiness. No.
Oh, you'll like it. You know, the heroine was hard to write for because she's essentially a Mr. Spock. She has to keep her emotions well in check because she's a forensic reader of murder scenes, which she reads the emotions left behind, and she can tell whether someone died a violent death and sometimes even follow the emotional scent of the person who did the killing. So they're kind of necessary for scenes of questionable death to see, you know, which one of the family killed this fellow. And in the case of this new murder, there is no scent. There's nothing for her to pick up on, and it freaks her out. So she goes into her Sherlock Holmes mode and just investigates the actual evidence that she sees there, and then susses things out. And God, I had fun playing with those characters. And yeah, it's a little long chapter, but I like to think things keep going.
It just sounds really good. I can't wait to read it.
Oh,
so,
she lives on Baker Street. She lives in Baker Stalker.
And holy crap, we're at the end of the hour. It is 8:56. So is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to kind of put out there, say something about that we didn't get to ask you about?
Look, Rachel Kane is here.
I don't know, but I think she's
Oh my God, where have you been?
She's awesomer.
I've always thought Pat was awesome. She's a great writer, and if you have not read her before, please check her out because she's brilliant and she's a lot of fun and she writes really fun stories. So that's it for me. Bye.
Rachel Kane off the air. No.
And if you haven't read Rachel's new one, which is about the library, that's also an alternate history, actually.
Yes.
So you guys both have the alternate history going on because hers is Ink and Bone about the Great Library of Alexandria that never burned down. So that's her alternate history. And now
I
we
live
have
there.
I lived there too. And now we have PN Elrod's new alternate history, The Hanged Man. So you guys need to check out both of those books and support both of these phenomenal ladies. And so it's been so much fun having you on tonight. You are just phenomenal. You gave so much great advice for aspiring authors. So we do want to thank you for being here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Where do you see me when I'm on caffeine?
You're not on caffeine now. That's kind of scary. No, I'm just kidding. but so guys, remember, pick up The Hanged Man and Ink and Bone, and we will see you. Actually, you're going out of town next weekend, right?
I am.
Is next week the week you're gone?
Nah, the week after.
Week after, okay. So no, so we will be here next week. I had to double check on that. Sorry guys, it's hectic. So we will see you Monday for our next episode of Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. Thank you again, Pat. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank